Happy Halloween, everyone. It's your boy John, and we're back with another episode of the Just No BS podcast. I got my boy Dev to the right and Caleb to the far right. And today, since it's Halloween, we're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about a lot of bit of things actually that horrify us. Mostly movies, entertainment, good stuff. But in the same breath, because it is also the week before Election Day, I got to bring out the thing that really horrifies me. Election Day. um this is really the best. Like 2020, I was like, this is the best we could do. We just had two old people, and now this is really the best we can do. Like a slight improvement. Oh, my camera tripping, but look at that. Happy Halloween. But yeah,
Spooky.
no. In all seriousness, though, like this, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I hope y'all are early voting just to avoid the nonsense of the actual day. But give me some of your quick thoughts. Like, are y'all prepared for the outcome here?
I guess I'll start off with that one. I voted early as well. I don't know where it's going to go, one way or the other. I work in a field that is greatly affected by, who ends up going into office, but honestly, I don't know. One way or the other, it's going to be a wild ride. That's all I have to say.
I would like to avoid the wildest ride. It's like the difference between getting on the Hulk and getting on like Spider-Man. Which one are you more
Right,
scared
right, right.
of?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just go through like one of those Simpsons virtual rides for a couple of years? Like, the
Nah,
ones that
man.
are fake roller coasters. Nothing too crazy happens on it. You're a little bit of shaking. You feel excited, but
Not too
we get
many
one of
people said
those.
challenge accepted.
I agree with you though, Deb. I'm coming from the standpoint. I also voted early just to get it out the way. Um, but a lot of this is it's very interesting just to see like where we are and the things like the elections and the candidates that have led up to this point and the things that we have acquiesced to. Um, Especially if you're like very tapped in politically. Just given my background, like I come from like a very um, politically driven family in our own right, as far as just being aware of what's going on, being aware of other options. And I will stand by this. I say this every 4 years. People don't give a damn. I've said it on multiple different platforms, multiple different vehicles. Um, these are to my sentiments right now are to the third party, period. Not the enthusiasts of the third party, but the people who are actually there trying to make up like the cabinet, make up the system. Nobody will believe you until you believe you. You cannot pop up every 4 years and expect to get people to support you. You have to be actively doing things. Um, Also,
That's
to
talking to
the
you, Jill Stein.
also talking to the black elders that have missed their age window to be politically powerful. We're looking at you, Cornel West, brother. We love you, um, but you did miss that window. Respectfully, engaging in a whole bunch of bullshit, and you wasted your time, and now you're older. We who are politically savvy understand that that seat of power ages people exponentially. You're already old. You see what I'm saying? You will die in that bitch if we put you in there. So you were never going to win anyway. We'll just be very honest, be very practical. You at this age and at this tenure of your wisdom, you were supposed to be an elder statesman mentoring the next person that's supposed to occupy that seat. You being so entrenched and so hypnotized by your narcissism is the reason that we are the where we are right now when it comes to you. You are not a viable political candidate. I love you and wish the best for your family. But realistically speaking, you are not the person. Who are your political allies? Who has stamped you? Who has come to your aid in these campaign endeavors and things like that? You see what I'm saying? Nobody. Nobody of substance, nobody of power, nobody of prestige, nobody of, you see what I'm saying? Nothing. You are by yourself in an ideological gauntlet fighting against time. It's over for you. Please step aside and mentor someone who can do what you're supposed to do. That's that's where I stand with this.
No, I agree. I think, like, I'm right there with you. Like, even though technically I'm a registered Democrat, as young, when you're young, you pick a side just because that's how you do, especially when you get your like first license or whatever. But then as I got older, the only reason I stayed a registered Democrat is because I want to be able to vote in every election. Unfortunately, until we shake up our system where third parties actually matter to the point where it's not called a third party, like we're going to be stuck in this dual-headed system that just seems to not really get us anywhere. And again, that's why these elections every 4 years, the further we go along this pattern until something actually changes, it just feels worse and worse.
Yeah,
Right now,
no,
it's not even the lesser of two evils. It's like, do we dig our hole? Do we dig a hole down to hell, or do we take a rocket ship down? Like that's not even.
One way or another, you're still going in the same direction.
no.
Yeah, it's like. And the thing is, what really kills me is we can't even decide on what the facts are anymore. Like I remember, well, I don't remember, but I look back on some of the stuff we grew up with when we were younger. It's like people could at least agree on what certain set of facts were, and now it's just like, no, women are blah blah blah, so we have to get the rights to the states. That's BS, and you know it. Like,
Yeah.
because imagine you tell a man, yeah, if your balls aren't clean, you can do this, so we have to monitor you every month. Men would make every law in the book so that no one's out there fondling their junk. But now we want to dictate how women handle things. It's all stupid.
Very much so. Oh, my bad, Dad. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I don't. So, okay, let's get to it. Let's get to the bullshit.
Here we go.
Let's get to the bullshit. So this weird pseudo like duopoly thing that we have going on in America, like there is no true liberal party here. Period.
Not at all.
You have a party that is trying to preserve the rights as they stand, and then the other party that is trying to. So you have a conservative party, and then you have a regressive party. There is no progressive party, no truly progressive party. When you think about it, period. And if you think that I'm lying, look at the standpoints of what qualifies you to be a progressive, and then look what the Democratic Party stands for. It's not the same shit. And then the people who are true progressives, they get no funding because radical ideology. You see what I'm saying? So like when you look at this, I think it was Baldwin. I think it was Baldwin who said essentially like to be black and conscious in America is to be perpetually angry.
Yep.
Because if you're black and you know what's going on, you're instantly like, bro, it's that thing to where it's like that's the other side of the X-Men comic. Like you don't understand how much rage the X-Men and the mutants actually have because you're watching legislation happen that directly affects you that does not affect anybody else like on a heavy way. You just get passed in front of you without true representation. The black people that y'all see in these higher political positions do not represent all of us. Black people as a whole are not a freaking monolith, bro. I don't know how many times we have to tell y'all, how many iterations and variations we have to tell y'all. Key and Peele did it, Dave Chappelle did it, Paul Mooney did it. All of these people, like you can
Pryor did it.
you can keep on combing through. You don't like we're doing comedians now because y'all don't like our political figures. Y'all don't like Fred Hampton and them. Y'all don't like the gang leaders. Y'all don't like Tukey Williams in them. Y'all don't like Hoover in them. You see what I'm saying? Like y'all don't like that side of us. Y'all don't like Wolverine's side. Y'all prefer the Professor X. But Rogue said something great in X-Men 97. After they had killed essentially everybody who was a moderate mutant, and she invaded the military base and she was up there fucking everybody up. One of the generals said, "Y'all are supposed to be the good guys." She told him, "You killed all of the good ones of us. We're the ones who were left." That is where you're going. Tupac told y'all 30 years ago. We've been knocking at the door asking for equal representation, equal rights. It went from a knock, it went to a bang, it went from singing, it went from hymns, it went from dancing. Now it's going to get to the point to where it's now we kicking in the door, up and up, open up the full blast and caskets on all of you bastards when you asking. Like, it's going to get to that. And you don't have to believe us.
Oh no, and the thing is, I've been believing this for years now. It's not even going to be necessarily ironic. It's not even necessarily be a black thing. I mean, do I need to rerun the clock back almost a year ago to January 6th? I'm just saying, it's not even. You're getting to the point now. It's like the ideals that you quote unquote say this country are based off of are getting so diminished that, let's just say it, Trump's a fascist, and they're just going to keep letting that. The fact that we are dealing with the fact between we have someone who at least will follow the law versus a fascist, and it's this close. I'm not saying Kamala's the best option, but the fact is that it's this close when we've got, hey, clear fascist. This man would have been Hitler if he could have been, and someone who at least followed the law. I'm not even saying it's the best option, but someone who will at least follow the law. I don't know, man.
And this country wasn't built off of Christian values. That's another misnomer. I'm sorry, Dev. Let me get one last point. This country is not a Christian country that was built off of piss and rainbows. This country was built off of the cornerstone of not wanting to be taxed by big government or having their religion policed. Period, point blank. It was a bunch of white charlatans that were not viewed as conducive to the monarchy over there that was like, fuck it, we're going to do our own thing. And they terrorized them. They committed war crimes against them and regional terrorism against them. And then they built this nation up also off of immigration, forced labor, slavery, rape, miseducation, all of this shit. That's what this country was built off of. Y'all are living, we are actively living in the galactic empire. I need you to get that through your fucking head. This is not the land of milk and honey. This
Okay.
I hear the national anthem every single time. And you hear it every 4 years, bro. This is what this shit was built off of. So much so, lastly, when you look at the people who are supposed to be facilitating, monitoring, and distributing our money, like TD Bank, they just got in trouble for money laundering for the cartel. Did them CEOs, CFOs, the C-suite, did they go to prison? No, they paid a fine, got a slap on the wrist. Wells Fargo was also in trouble because they were involved in trafficking individuals in them shipping containers. Did they get indicted? No. They paid a fine, they moved them along. We know. We're built off of slavery and drugs and bullshit. That's what this country is built off of. Period, point blank. Get it through your skulls. This shit is not holy ground. This is not heaven. If anything, this is the tutorial version of hell. Go ahead, Dev. My bad.
So, kind of going back for a second when it came to the topic of the truth. So, I was watching YouTube about a week and a half ago, and sometimes I like to kind of go out there and see what the other side, kind of talks about there. So that way I have talking points. I like to see both sides and then kind of come to a conclusion.
Man,
Tell me how.
I did that the other day too. Ugh.
Yeah, it's wild, by the way. But there was a video that was put out that blew my mind, and it took all 2 seconds for me to go and prove that it was false. But it was a video that was basically saying that as of that particular date, Elon Musk had just purchased Apple.
Yep, I saw that.
And I was like, wait, what? Huh? So again, it just took a couple seconds of doing my own research to prove that that was false. But when I read through all the comments, there were so many people who believed that immediately and were all for it and saying all kinds of different stuff. And even when people, you'd see every once in a while a comment would come in saying like, oh no, that's, false information. There were so many people fighting against that, saying like, oh no, it's definitely going to happen because of this and that and so on and so forth. So this has to be true. Like, is it that easy to just go and put out whatever you want to go and say and then everyone's just going to believe it? And then I started kind of digging around. I'm like, there are just so many other videos where people just manipulate the truth on a regular basis, and people don't want to do their own research and just believe the first thing that they're told. The same thing happened when we were in, I believe it was for our last election. People were listening to anything that they saw on Facebook and just immediately believing that. When Facebook had to go out and go and say, hey, do your own research. This information right here is false information, or hey, here are the facts right over here. Because so many people were just believing the first thing that they heard or saw. That's a problem. People, we need to do our own research. We need to sit there and verify things. Don't just believe the first thing you hear. You
You know,
know.
you know what's crazy too is because I think it was 2 episodes ago. I was like, man, I hate the phrase "do your own research" because even that has been destroyed. So it's like we need to do the thing that people are actively destroying.
Yeah.
It's sad, but you're right. But that's the only way to kind of get out of that.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to fill the water, do your research, fill the water, and then someone just poked a hole at the bottom, so you're just constantly sitting there.
You know, But yeah, that's my whole thing on that. Just people, please, don't just believe everything at face value. Look into things, ask other people, uh, find out from people who you feel are your moral or political opponents. What they think about things, and kind of take that in. Think about it as a full picture, as opposed to just what you currently see.
Snapshot. Yeah.
Yes.
And I will add on to the advice of that before we move on. Don't debate to argue the first thing you see. Debate to actually have a conversation, because that's what we do in America.
Mm.
We don't actually debate. We just yell over the top of each other and call that a conversation. No, sit down, talk. I was literally watching a YouTube video where a independent liberal person went to Alaska and interviewed everybody she could just talk to, and even people who were quote unquote Republicans. It's like, it doesn't matter if you actually care about an issue. Sit down, talk about it, because when you actually sit to listen, you'll find out that the side you're on truly doesn't matter unless you're a complete radical. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. So,
And you as a black, y'all are here. Y'all know who y'all are. You as a black person have no leg to stand on being a radical on any side. Period, point blank. There is no ancillary power to protect you from bullshit. Period. There's nothing to protect you from bullshit. You need to pick what you like, support what you like, stand by that on a political side when it comes to this duopoly, yes. But also, there's an extra responsibility on you to support grassroots movements who actually support things and are working on things in your immediate area. Period, point blank. These parties, in and of themselves, were not built to even house you. In their inception, they weren't even built to include your existence. Do the extra work because you have to do the extra work. Be fucking for real with yourself. My bad, Jay. So I just had to say,
no. It's perfect, and I'm gonna add on to that. Follow the actual fact, because the number of black people that I know that are flat earthers is unconsciously large. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. Black people we generally have some misgivings on certain things like hospitals. And to be fair, it's understandable, especially if you lived anywhere between the 50s to now, when we were used as research without being told. Like, it's fair. But you know what doesn't care about what party you lead or if you don't believe it or not? A heart attack, high blood pressure, diabetes. Those things don't care. They will get you either way. So, like, know the facts of something. So that's kind of, I guess, going to be our opening. A little bit of heavy, so we're going to switch it up now. We're going to go a little more lighthearted, kind of. Again, it's Halloween, so we're going to be talking about horrors here. So since there's no real, like, deep dive discussion topic, I'm just going to throw this out there, especially since the title of our episode is going to be What's Your Favorite Scary Movie? So I'll kind of start off. I'm going to name, like, 5 scary horror thriller movies. These are my top 5, no particular order. And we'll kind of break down why we like those types of movies, or those in particular. And then we're just going to kind of start off our discussion from that point. So for me, my 5 favorite scary movies are going to be Final Destination, Get Out, Us, The Cabin in the Woods, and A Quiet Place. And for me, I always find that the best, at least for me, the best movies of those genres are ones that have some kind of commentary on the society we live in. Like, The Quiet Place is basically what happens when you just strip away all noise, and how do we survive as a society from that point. Of course, it's a horror movie, so you're going to have your creature that's attacking everybody. But the fact that as a family, you have to adjust to living in a society without noise, how do you do that? And the little minute things you have to go through to try to move on. Like, this lady, they lose their kid. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen these movies at this point. I literally just named off a bunch of movies that are, like, at least 7 years old at this point. So if you haven't seen them, I'm sorry. But especially in A Quiet Place, that first one, you lose your youngest kid because he's an idiot with a toy and leaves the battery in. So the monster gets him because it makes a noise. And then you somehow have to time skip and try to have a baby in a society where you can't make noise. That is diametrically opposed to survival. So the fact that you're trying to make an actual life in this new society, that blew my mind when I saw that movie. But yeah, that's one example. Again, I listed 4 more, but I'm moving on to someone else. What you got, Dev?
So first off, I want to go and say that scene that you were referring to in A Quiet Place, I know that I am a terrible person for it, but I kind of laughed because I'm like, as soon as I heard the sound, I'm like, this kid, it's over. He's done. Someone's going to just come out and wreck him. And just as predicted, boom, I'm like, and I just started laughing. I'm like, fucking called it. I'm like, I shouldn't laugh at this, but come on. If you've been living with this all this time and you didn't think to take out the batteries, you kind of get what's coming.
No, that's the thing. The dad in the movie took out the batteries, and he, like, because they all know sign language, he's like too loud. So his sister, the older one, gives him the toy back without the batteries, and this dumbass kid puts the batteries back in when everyone has their backs turned around.
Oh yeah, he earned that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't feel too bad about laughing. Because I'm like, you know what? You asked for this. You won the Darwin Award right there. Good job, buddy. But for my 5, which, by the way, with your 5, I do love those movies as well. For mine, it was It and that entire series there, both the old version as well as the new. Late Night with the Devil, Cabin in the Woods, Megan, and The Babadook.
Cabin in the Woods is on my list too, man. That movie is just great meta horror. But go ahead.
Right. So personally, I enjoy those movies because they kind of explore human nature, human emotions, and fears that kind of tie along with that. So if we're looking at it kind of focuses on childhood fears made manifest. Late Night with the Devil deals with, like, guilt and the fear of, secrets and the unknown. Megan touches on the loss of a human connection and the growing fear of, robots and AI that we're actually kind of starting to see right now.
Thanks, Elon.
That's a whole different topic that I want to talk about at some point as well. But it kind of deals with things on that end. It's not so much the monster or the slasher or that's really the big thing. It's people dealing with those fears. So I do like that kind of commentary there.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I need to rewatch Megan. That movie, like I remember seeing the commercials, just and the advertisement. That just people doing that stupid dance was creepy enough, and then
Yeah,
it actually had like a real plot. Jesus, man.
mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. So before I give my 5, I just want to touch on, because I left it off. I left the cabin in the woods off mine because I just wanted to have a quick convo with y'all about this. Like, Jazo, you touched on it. You said like the meta of horror that was in there. And like that's something that I've internalized because just again, being the hip hop guy in the trifecta, like there's like a ritual that happens. Like we know we've talked about, well, off camera in our communities, we've talked about like death happening in threes as far as celebrity goes. And that's a ritual. In like the same way that like you hear rappers who like some of these young fuckity fucks, excuse my language, who like come up being like, yeah, we killed Devin. And then when Devin's people tried to get back at us, we killed Devin's sister. And then we pissed on her grave at September 14th, 4:30 p.m. in St. Louis. And then Jazo tried to, and they're like telling on themselves in records. And that's like a ritual as to where it's like, okay, that happens, that happens, that happens. The Fed step in, do a grand reset. Then the next fuckity fuck comes in. It's like the block was quiet. Nobody knew there was a killer outside, and then it just starts back again. And it's like that's why Cabin in the Woods was so like wow to me because it's like yeah, like and also last point for me was I didn't even really pay attention to it till you brought this topic up. A lot of those like slasher movies were based in conservative ideologies. I didn't know that until I started to do research because you look at the people who die in these slasher films. It's everybody who deviates from conservative ideologies. If you have premarital sex, the slasher is going to kill you. You drink early as a kid, the slasher is going to kill you. You do drugs, the slasher is going to kill you. The only person that survives is the nice, pretty white girl at the end, every single time, with no
Who
repercussions.
happens to be the virgin.
Who happened to be the virgin. And I was like, holy shit. It didn't click to me until I started looking into this topic. I kind of fell down my own rabbit hole. With that being said, you said horror movies, like scary horror movies and thrillers. I'll be honest, Signs fucked me up as a kid. Signs did a number on me as a kid. On the thriller side, Memento was crazy. I don't know if y'all have seen Memento. I don't know if y'all who are watching have seen Memento. It's, bro, could you remember you if you forgot you? That's that's the question. Could you remember you if you forgot you? Crazy. I'm gonna skip Get Out. You've already said Get Out. Another thriller was Snowpiercer for me.
Yeah.
That was hefty. That was hefty to deal with. Along with horror, I got The Mist. That was a lot to deal with. And skipping over a few others that I also have, Cabin Fever, to go along with what you said, Jaso. Commentary on society as a whole.
That's a deep cut. I have not seen that movie in forever.
Years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you brought it back to my memory because I saw you said Cabin in the Woods. I was like, there's another Cabin movie from the early 2000s. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, there was 3 of them. It was a Cabin Fever, Cabin in the Woods, and then Last House on the Left. Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Last House on the Left did a number on me for a minute, bro, because you think it's just gonna be your standard slasher, and they like twist it, and then they twist it back. I was like, yo, this movie is it's outrageous.
Mm-hmm. And my honorable mention, I got 2 honorable mentions. I'll be quick. My first honorable mention is American Psycho. as a thriller.
Mhm.
American Psycho, that's my cringe pick because I know a lot of you weird incel guys like that shit. I don't like it for the reason y'all like it. I like it for my own reasons.
Mhm.
Ironically enough, especially if you ever read the book, or I think it was a book that it was based off of,
Mhm.
the lady, that's right, you incels, the lady who
Yeah.
wrote it, the, the lady who wrote it as a satire. It's a joke on the over masculinity of these certain type of Wall Street bros.
Mhm.
It's basically watching the thriller version of like Star Trek Troopers, and the fact that that just goes over everyone's heads is, well, over these incels' heads is just outrageous. And
And
of
my
course, the whole Pokemon meme is,
it's over. Yeah, that's why I said this. I don't like it for why y'all like it. I have my own reasons. 1408. I don't know if y'all saw this in the early 2000s with Samuel L. Jackson. I forget the white dude's name. Um, dang, I forget the white dude's name right now. But
John Cusack.
John Cusack, thank you, Cusack. That shit, that 1408 is like
That's
a
based on a Stephen
synopsis.
King book. I remember this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this was literally like my synopsis of this movie is fuck around and find out. So many people died in that hotel room 1408, and Cusack was like, "Oh, you know, we know how white people be doing. They don't think fat meat is greasy. They just yeah, I guess these people die, and he fucks around and finds out. Everybody ain't playing with you, bro. But yeah, I oh, and Saw. I'm sorry, Saw was my last one. The first Saw specifically, like that.
Ironically, we can break this down to franchises in a second here, but like, ironically, I wasn't a fan of the first Saw at first. It wasn't until I think it was the fourth one, the one with Megan Good, that I
Mhm.
actually like
Okay,
decided to go back and rewatch them. I think that was the fourth or the fifth one. I don't remember, but I
okay.
didn't. I didn't like Saw at first. I basically thought it was just slasher porn, which it's half isn't. It's the horror soap opera. That's really what it is.
Mhm.
But again, the first one I wasn't a fan. But once the one with Making Good, were like they that trap sequence, they technically could have all escaped and had minimal injuries and skipped to the sunset. But because they were all selfish in one way or another, they all got picked off like flies. I was like, hold up, this is actually the crazy logic. So I'm like, so I went back to rewatch, 1 through 3 or 1 through 4. I don't remember which one it is. And I actually watched how it built up. I'm like, you know what? They got something here. But yeah, no, the one with Megan Good is my favorite one because that plot, the actual trap sequence of that movie was, I was like, y'all could have legit all escaped with minimal injury. I mean,
Mhm.
it's.
And I think it
uh,
was that era that hooked me, Jazo. To be fair, the early 2000s, as far as the like accompaniment for a lot of movies and things like that, like it was heavily like opera based and classical based. Like even the theme of Saw was like very opera classical music based, like dun 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 dun. All of that, like again, this was all in like prequel Star Wars era as well to me as
Mhm.
so hearing like John Williams and Hans Zimmerman and da da da, like hearing that, it's like a that's a thing. Like when you hear the like large band, large symphony come in, it's like, oh, somebody fucked up at this point.
Mhm.
Somebody
yeah,
has fucked up. Who fucked up? Like, yeah,
in
no,
a weird way, like there was an art to horror, like especially with like musical cues, like the fact that each
Mhm.
villain had their own like theme, like
yeah,
dun, 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 or the like there was an actual like theme to it all, even the slashers, and like there was a period there, like I want to say we just lost it, and I think with this new set of horror movies that are coming out, like Unfriended, great like horror movie like that. I'm like,
Yes.
that was refreshing. Megan, these like they're getting back to the art of it all. And just
which
to for the audience, I was talking about Saw 5. I had to double check. It's Saw 5 is the one with Megan Good. That's what made me go back to rewatch them. But yeah.
Do you think that we got away from that? Like the themes of the killers because of the point in time that we hit to where like school shootings started escalating. Serial killers started having a large resurgence around that time. So they didn't want to like support that iconography of a single dangerous individual and glorify them. I'm asking. That's kind of what
I
it
don't.
looks like to me, but I just want your input.
You go first, Devin, because I got to stew on that one for a second. Actually, no, I'll go.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking on it, but initial. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So, because I remember like early 2010s, like my girlfriend at the time made me go see Prom Night with her. That movie was trash. Like, there were a few of them, like, that movie was horrible. But, like, I don't know. Like, because every generation's had its own solid horror movies, but then there's some of them where it's just like, I don't know. I don't really have a great answer to that question because, like, because there was that period where we also just copied horror from other countries, like The Ring, The Eye, all
The
of those.
Grudge.
Like we just stole those from Korean or Japanese ones and just kind of remade them. Wreck, the one with the whole video first person thing. I recommend watching the original ones. But yeah, the original Spanish ones, but we copied that. So I just think there was no. I think the best horror, thrillers, scary movies, whatever, are the ones that actually have a tie to the current zeitgeist that we're living in, which is why I think this new wave of horror movies, again, unfriended with the whole social media aspect of it, Megan with the whole AI aspect, and how we're losing connection with people, Get Out, talking, being an allegory about how we treat people with race, even Us, where it's more of a classist conversation about the different classes of people and how we unintentionally connect with each other but disregard our own connections. Like, in a way, horror is like satire. It's always supposed to have some, at least to me, should always have some kind of deep meaning to it. Even the slashers, like, had some kind of base, even if it was at a basic level, had like a meaning to them. So, like, heck, I almost said Halloween. I mean, the Nightmare on Elm Street was about how our dreams can basically attack us. Like, so like even there was a theme to it. People tend to forget that Jason wasn't the first iteration of his series. It was his mom in the first one. So it's like,
Yep.
I mean, we also have Babadook, Midsommar. I always say that movie's name wrong.
Yeah,
Because it's the Midsommar or that movie was more like that failure of Utopia. Like, there are all these great horror movies now because I think we're retapping into essentially the zeitgeist, the conversations that we actually have when it comes to what scares us. So
I think it was Wicker Man in the 80s. They remade it with Nicolas Cage.
oh yeah, the bees.
Yeah,
Not the bees.
Yeah, I think that was Wicker Man. My bad, Deb. Go ahead. I don't.
So John, I do think that you hit it on the head there, that some of the best horror movies from every generation taps into what's going on in the minds of people during that time. I think that at some point, a lot of the writers just kind of started getting a little lazy there and just focusing solely on, oh, hey, let's go for the goriest kills and try to just cover up the fact that they didn't really do their research, on that.
And to be fair, real quick, some horror movies, there's a place for it. Sometimes you just want to go see a bunch of people get killed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, although it's initially was based on, real
shit.
stuff, but
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
And I will go and say, yes, there is a place for that, if that was the purpose. There are some movies where you can tell that that wasn't the intended purpose, but they tried to use that to cover the fact that they weren't trying to go very deep into it, but they also didn't go to the other extreme either. I think that's where we kind of saw a lot of those movies where they just kind of failed or they just didn't do very well. And then we kind of saw that move into the, okay, well, let's go ahead with some of the horror movies from other countries in the meantime, which then kind of reinvigorated horror, and then we're back to where we are right now. I think that a lot of writers have learned from that mistake there, and I'm hopeful that it will continue like that, at least for a time.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would prefer us to support the writers and the directors who actually tap in to that primal fear,
Mm-hmm.
or even the square root of current fear, because right now that current fear is more tangible than ever. Like, obviously you can do all types of like the square root of it being like Terminator, like AI taking over, blah blah blah, Black Mirror adjacent, da 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 da. But like the true fear is something like the Truman Show, and you've been a
Mm-hmm.
robot this whole time, and you didn't even know. Like something like that. Like tap into like a fear that like. Did you guys see Wolverine versus Deadpool?
I did. Yeah.
Like, you know, the sister of Professor Xavier, where she has to like touch you and like put her fingers in your brain, like that. That's what horror needs to feel like. It needs to feel like someone touching your brain, and that chill goes back down the back of your spine. Like, Jesus, I'm being touched by something I don't want to be touched by. That's what horror needs to be. And then
Mm-hmm.
at the same token, as it was invaded into your psyche, it needs to pull out. To where it's like you still have a way to avert this disaster. Like that's where we are right now. You see what I'm saying? Like that's what needs something along those lines. Something like great writing, great audio production. We're too old for fucking jump scares. You don't need to jump scare us.
Mm-hmm.
Reality is terrifying enough at this point.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't need like we don't need that. Like be like, hey, guess what? You can get taxed for being an individual who isn't married and doesn't have kids. Boom. It's like, whoa, 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 what the fuck?
Whoa, hey.
Yeah.
It's scary enough being here. Hey, you're a Puerto Rican. They view your shit as a dump site. Boo. Whoa, what's going on? Hey, you're a Haitian individual. They view you all as demon worshippers and boogie boot. Like, it's terrifying enough living in this reality. All you need to do, what a joker's, a good push. Just push. That's all you need.
I mean, this is why
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Poole's been so successful. That's basically what he's done with horror. Like, he just took his mind as a comedian and just flipped it and said, all right, let's just make it scary. And like that's the thing. I remember the first time I saw Get Out, I had no clue what it was like until the freaking auction.
Yeah.
I had no
Mm-hmm.
clue exactly what was going on. And I was just like, I'm like, is this family like legit? Are the black people here the ones that are actually tripping? Like, what is going? Like, the fact that you like when you watch it the second time, that's when you're like, okay, I see all the clues. But like the first time, I'm like, what's actually happening here? Like,
So, John, you were there when I saw Get Out for the first time, because you had already seen it before,
because I
and
bought the
then
Blu-ray, yeah.
yep, and I was sitting there, and if you remember that entire time, I'm like, I don't know what it is, and I went in not knowing a thing about the movie. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but something feels off. I can't fight this feeling, And then when they did the big reveal, I'm like, no, and that messed with me for like a good 2 weeks straight, you know. But that was that feeling of, you know what, they kind of slowly dug in deep into something kind of private there. And then they just kind of just, as Cal said there, they kind of just touched that there, that something that you feel shouldn't be touched, and they did it not in a way where they just did with a jump scare where they just kind of jumped in and no, it was sneaky, and at that point you already feel like they're already in there when it's too late, like
Yeah.
just that chill that was perfect.
Like, I remember after seeing Get Out, I had this running gag slash joke slash not quite joke. It's like one of those like morbid jokes where like I'm like, has anyone seen Dick Cheney or is he in Kanye? Like, that was my running joke for like ever. Cause I was just like, is this a thing? Like, have we not heard about this? Like, for the longest time, I had that running joke in my head. It was like a head canon. And then when we finally saw Dick Cheney like a year ago, I was like, okay, this might not be real. But like,
I mean, shit. Could be Epstein.
I mean, and hey, going back.
Happy Halloween.
Look, we saw Dick Cheney, but how do we know he's not a robot?
My thing is, I'm gonna be honest with you, Deb. I'll send it to the group chat. Jazo, you'll have the link if you could attach it to this episode, like in the source links or whatnot. It's a channel called Axiom Amnesia. It's a black couple who review movies and things like that, and they were essentially talking about the main character's name, Chris. Is that? No, that's not. I forget his name. I forget the main black character's name. His real actual name. Dang, that's not Daniel Kaluuya. Dang, I forget his actual name.
From what?
But they were essentially saying like he was blinded by jealousy. That was their assertion or their understanding of it. And my thing is like he didn't have. We're gonna coin it here, and we're gonna say it like this because y'all can't say it. He didn't have a nigga sense. Me as a black man watching this movie, I'm like, all right, cool, boom. We get pulled over by the cop early. I'm like, okay, cool. My white girl step out, handles the situation for me. Cool, no harm, no foul. That's what happens. We pull up. Bob, the dad's like, I loved Obama. I would have voted for him for a third time. Nigga sense.
Oh, leave.
No,
That's the first,
something don't feel right.
No, Dad, that's the first one. That's the, you dating a white girl. That's the first one. It's gonna be one on the house. That's the first one.
Real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but that was actually my second strike in the movie. The first strike was the very beginning where she was just like, my family's not racist. Hold up. Something's off here.
Yeah.
That's my bad. Correction. That's the second one. I would have voted for Obama for a third time if I could. That's the second one. And then you got the situation with because I think the maid unplugging his phone came before old boy running in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of there, Dad. I'm out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting up the Discord. If I disappear, I'm at 12308 Woodcrest Boulevard on my way back to Jazo. All types of I'm on the way back. And his stupid ass sat there, let himself get hypnotized by his bro. Then he let the white boy talk to him about superior genetics. What?
Nah, fam.
As a black man, you're gonna let a white boy tell you about superior genetics? And cool.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I first saw that movie, I was like, hold on, for full context, I have never dated a white girl in my life. So I'm just gonna throw that context out there real quick before I say the rest of this. First things first, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm driving up to upstate, middle of nowhere, New York, or wherever the hell they were, to have to meet them for the first time. Let's meet in like downtown New York City. Y'all can take us to like somewhere nice, but like, I'm not driving up to upstate anywhere. It's like saying, hey, let's go to rural Georgia to go meet your family. No, I don't care what race you are. What? We're going to go meet in Atlanta at a nice restaurant, and then we can have a nice even playing field real quick. Like, what?
There you go. And thank God for his friend. Thank God for his friend. All of y'all need a black friend like that. If you're a black man dating a white woman and you don't have a black friend like that, you're gonna die. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna die. Somebody's either gonna kill you or Dick Cheney gonna take your body.
So that's PSA.
My bad, Jay. Go ahead.
No, you good. But yeah, no.
So, quick funny story. So you know how with all those different movies where there's like some cabin that just seems kind of off and everything, there's, especially in some of the older movies, there's always like the one black guy and everything who always dies first, you know. But there's always the one who's pointing out like, that seems kind of weird. That's kind of off. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And everyone's like, no, it's fine. Well, I went on a trip with some friends a couple years ago, and there was myself and one other black guy and everything on the trip. And when we found out where we were going, we both looked at each other, and I'm like, damn, one of us is going to be the black guy that dies at the start of this movie. And he's like, look, Dev, you know, I have no chance here, you know. You need to live, because if I escape, then no one's going to help us at all. If you escape, you might actually be able to do something about it afterwards. And I'm like, all right, cool. We have this plans. We'll get to this cabin that's in the middle of, you know, on top of this mountain, which when you look off to the side and everything, there's just a steep off the cliff kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, so there's only one way in, one way out. All right, we're looking great so far. Go into the cabin. Downstairs, you know, in one of the bathrooms or anything, there's like a cabinet that goes into the mountain itself. You open it and there's just a hole into the mountain itself. And I'm like, all right, so that's where the demon pops out. Cool. Next floor and everything. For some of the rooms, there was one room where there's just, you know, a locked closet. Like there's just a padlock on it and everything. For one of them, and then another closet, it had just, the only thing that was in the closet was just this large mirror that's facing, you know, the door and everything. As soon as you walk in there, I'm like, all right, so that's a horror movie thing right there. In the main living area, tell me how, like, they had like some DVDs there for people to go and watch and so on and so forth. And then there's just one unmarked DVD that's just there, and I'm like, all right, so that's the one with the Ring movie on there. All right, cool.
Did you escape the cabin in the woods, bro?
So when the cabin in the woods came out, I was like, I believed that. Get out of here. There was attached to this cabin and everything at the bottom level, a kind of side room that's detached from the rest of the cabin itself that was padlocked, and the windows were covered with paper and stuff like that. And I'm like, what sort of, you know, horror movie did we walk into? Man, we're all gonna die. I don't even care anymore. Like, look, I'm just gambling on the fact that maybe all the different things that are gonna try to kill us are just gonna end up fighting each other, like a Freddy versus Jason movie, you know, Cabin in the Woods. This is even before Cabin in the Woods and everything. So I'm like, Freddy versus Jason, maybe we might get lucky, and I'm just gonna run. I'm not gonna do let's see them fight. No. I'm gone.
Alien versus Predator.
I don't care. As soon as I heard one creak in the house, I'm like, nah, we're dead. It's over, guys.
Bro, that would not have been a vacation. I would have left like the next day.
I was on high alert that entire time. I'm like, we were there for like 3-4 days. I'm like, we're gonna die.
3-4 days?
Yeah, I'm like, we're gonna die out here. John, you remember I texted people saying we're about to die out here. John was my one black friend where I was just like, man,
send me that pin drop. Send me the location.
Well, this is where the location. Don't hear from me. First off, don't come out here. Save me.
Oh, I'm sending like the white sheriff that lived nearby. I'm not.
Exactly.
Nothing personal.
Like, if you get a message
That's
from me
fine.
saying, like, oh man, come on out here, it's good. No, don't believe it. You
It
got
wasn't
me.
me.
It wasn't me.
The only like as black people, we have like looks or code words. If the look is just like, we ain't going.
Mhm.
It reminds me of that RDC World skit where it's just like how short horror movies would be if they were all black people. It's just like the one that always kills me is when they're driving down the road and you just see the one black guy waving around like, "Don't come this way, go the other way," and they're just
No,
like, "Oh,
no, no.
there's no party for me," and they just turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point to switch to the next overall topic. Still in the horror theme, but we'll just move it on to other media. So I actually wrote down here, some of my favorite horror games and other media in general. This also includes like anime. Um, but I'm just gonna drop one here, and we'll just kind of bounce off each other. One of my favorite horror games ever was Outlast. I think it initially came out on PS3 or PS4. I think it was PS3. But that very first Outlast, that game was the epitome of you can't do nothing but run and hide, and that was
Mm-hmm.
great. Um, but it was also like a bit psychological because it's like there was this one part to it where like you figure out what's going on and you know the spirit is chasing you or whatever, and it's basically like Pan's Labyrinth. Don't look, don't eat nothing, just run. If you look back, it gets you. If you even stop, it gets you. If you turn down the wrong corner, it's a dead end and it gets you. Like that game was perfect horror. We'll jump to you, Caleb. Any horror games or anime or anything like that, or is it all just movies?
I'm not too big on horror movies. I'll be horror games. I'm sorry. I'll be honest. I was playing State of Decay late at night by myself when I first played it. State of Decay is fucking terrifying when you play it like that. You play it in the headphones in a quiet place. That's terrifying. Fuck up out of here. I get it. That's not the most rah rah like a Dungeon Dragon thing that's happening. I get it. There are scarier games. Also, I think it was an Alien
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. It's like,
Isolation.
yep,
Alien
Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Isolation is terrifying. Play with your mom. Play with something safe. Don't play with that shit. Leave that alone. Nobody's playing with you. Um, Until Dawn, all of the shits in that motherfucker, leave that
Great
alone.
game.
Play with your mama. Play with something safe. That's not safe to play with. Finally, damn, it's a lot of zombie games in my shit now. I think about it. Dead by Daylight is also one of those as well. Um, it's not that I have a fear of zombies. It's more so my fear of what has brought us to zombies, if that makes sense. That makes it terrifying
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you don't have any help by the time we get to zombies. There is so much shit that has decayed and eroded around you that like nigga, it's you against them. I forget who said it, what comedian said it. Women can get raped, men can't get raped. You just lost the fight. That's what the zombie apocalypse feels like. Jazo, I know.
I can't. I can't.
It just is what it is. Like women get infected by zombies. You as a man, you just lost the fight, bro. You just lost. Nigga got you. Get your squabbles up, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. That's what Dead by Daylight feels like. You just lost the fight, bitch. Tighten up. But that's me. That's me.
To bounce off you real quick before Devin goes, a game you should never play on with like headphones in, as high as fast paced as that game was Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. If you ever played those games like
I'm
in the
good.
wrong time or like just straight through headphones and you're like doing some of the stuff by yourself and you just hear the sounds and don't know where it was coming from, again, that game was more fast paced. So it was that and Back for Blood were both fast paced and like you got guns and all the other stuff. So you're just fighting. But like there are moments in those games where it's just like, especially if you're playing on harder difficulties where things don't light up so you can see where you can pick stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you're just playing an advanced horror game.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Devin's the DM. I'm gonna interrupt Devin one last time before he goes because I got to step away for a second. Skyrim is not a horror game. It's not a horror game.
It's got its
But
moments.
if you play that bitch with headphones on,
Mm-hmm.
turn off the music, in the middle of the night, you'll be just minding your black ass business, walking around. I gotta get, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get this Windhelm. You pimping the Windhelm. You, and then you'll feel it start to go because the music is supposed to dun 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 dun, but there's no music there. You'll just hear a roar, and it's like, okay, bitch, what the fuck is this? A saber tooth will jump out, scratch your bitch ass. Now look at you. Whoa, where did he? Bro, it's horror, bro. Skyrim with no music and headphones is horror. Same with Fallout. Don't be confused. Go into one of them fucking vaults if you want to. With no music and headphones. Alright. Don't say I didn't tell you nothing. Don't say I didn't tell you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is terrifying.
All right, Evan, what you got over here?
So game-wise, the only one that I would add onto the list so far would be Fatal Frame.
Ooh,
yeah, nice. Like that one just kind of messes with you there. I will say that I tend to avoid horror games, and the reason why, and why I like horror movies but not necessarily horror games, is that with horror movies, I'm watching and I don't feel like I'm officially a part of it. You know, so I can kind of have that barrier there and enjoy it. When I'm playing a horror game, on the other hand,
it's you.
I'm in it, and as soon as something comes out, I'm like, look, we're about to go and fight. And even afterwards, once I've put the controller down, I'm still on edge. Anyone could just walk in, you know, hey, Devin. I'm like, all right, look, I was about to go and punch you right now.
To knock you out.
Exactly. A movie, on the other hand, again, I feel like I'm not a part of it. I'm watching someone else's story, so I don't have that reaction. But in a game, like, no. Congratulations, you got to me. You know, did you kill me? Cool. I feel that now on a personal level.
Got him. But yeah, nah. You know what? One horror game that messed with me, and I was definitely too young to be playing this, but at the same time, it messed with me. The Fear games. Fear 1 and Fear 2. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, those games. That was like in the height of the Ring in the Eye era. Oh my god, that little creepy ass girl. I don't. Welcome back, Kale. But
yep.
I don't know if you've ever played the games called Fear. They're like PS2.
Didn't let me get that shit.
Good.
My parents did not let me get that shit.
I was playing them at a friend's house, bro. That game is those games. The first two, anyway. The third one was kind of too supernaturally. It took some of the edge off, but the first two, bro, So the whole premise that you're like this guy who's like part of this supernatural like attack squad is not fully what it is, but you're part of this like crew, and you're like, you know, you have to like contain this girl who's like broken loose. But this girl's literally from the moment you jump into the area where she's like broken loose, bang, she mind fucks the main character, and like you can't tell what's real and what's not, and you're just running through this area trying to stop shit. And the whole time she's just like, nah, gotcha, bitch. Like the whole game, the first two, every part of the game, she's like, gotcha. To the point where it's just like, she's not a little girl, but she is, but she's not. She's like, no. Just, it's like if they took the Ring and just cranked that bitch up to like 25. Like, nah.
I think if I was indoctrinated into it early on, I think two of them would probably be my favorites. I think Silent Hill would be in my favorite, and I think Alan Wake would have been in my favorite. But like I didn't experience that growing up, so I can't play like that shit is something to me that it isn't. Like I've watched people play those games later on in life. but I could only imagine would have what it would have been like if I was playing it when those things were coming out. Because even the most recent Alan Wake was like, damn, this shit is dope. Like, this
Yeah.
shit is fucking terrifying. I can't hold you. It's scary. Oh, that was the other thing. Thank you for that. I'm glad I stepped away for a second. The other honorable mention for the movies was Paranormal. I think it was Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity series, the one where it's just like the camera and you can just see the
demon behind them.
Yep.
Like that shit like that is like, damn, that's hurtful. It's hurtful.
No, for me, the thing is, my older brother, like, he's like a horror movie like person. He'll watch like as many of them as he can. So growing up, I watched a lot of random horror movies, to the point where like if it was too basic, it wouldn't even affect me like at all. And then they dropped Insidious, that first one. That's a horror movie. That movie was jacked up to another level. I was like, oh,
my bad. That's Insidious, not Paranormal Activity. Insidious was the one where the demon was behind.
Yeah, with the red.
Oh boy, yeah, that's Insidious. Not Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity was in the bracket of like
Blair Witch Project and stuff like that.
Exactly. But, like it's like, oh, this is whatever. Insidious was unsettling. Which is, again, like, that's a little different than horror. Horror is like, you know what you're going into. Unsettling is like, I gotta go home with this bitch on my mind. Like, I gotta eat this.
Bro, a movie that did it to me recently was that Smile movie. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't terrifying or horror, but it was just unsettling.
Like, yep. It had that creep factor.
Yeah.
It Follows was like that too.
Oh, bro, It Follows is probably my honorable mention. That's probably like close number 6 because like, could you imagine? Could you imagine the kind of world how messed up we would be in this current society where you can get assaulted by an STD, a supernatural STD? Get out of here, bro. We would have lost 3/4 of the planet by now.
No, we'd be over. We would have been playing D&D. Y'all would have heard a boom, and I'm standing up. What's good, bitch? What's good?
The problem is you look crazy because you're the only one who can see it, and then you still can't do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's unsettling. It's very unsettling.
I'm just telling you all right now, if that ever happened and all of a sudden you just jump up and start yelling at something that you can't see, I'm just walking. I'm not even going to be like, oh, hey, are you good or are you going crazy? No, I'm just going to calmly pack up my stuff and just walk.
Devin, I'm lying. My nigga Devin with me too. Uh-huh. Devin gonna stamp you out. Yeah.
You're going to turn me like right down. You're going to see I'm gone. You're going to see a dotted line.
The anime outline. Just see the anime outline, his man gone.
You look out the window, you're just going to see me, in the car, just deuces.
Nah.
Look, if I can see it, I'll deal with it. If it's invisible, nah.
Nah, that movie was absurd. And the thing is, what Caleb said is always cracks me up because anytime, like, I think back to Halloween H2O, anytime a black person does that. Because, what was it, Busta Rhymes' character tried to fight Jason karate?
I mean, he tried. Praise for it.
Him and I don't remember which Nightmare on Elm Street, but the black dude that tried to fight Freddy Krueger. It's always one of us that's just gonna be like, all right, if I'm gonna die, I'm throwing hands real quick. Like,
and I can respect that. Like, look, if escape is not an option,
we fight.
You gotta throw some hands, bro.
LL Cool J on D Blue C. LL Cool J was fighting. He was fighting like a motherfucker. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to scale back the profanity. My bad. Y'all make me feel comfortable. This is how I talk around family. Excuse me. LL Cool J was fighting like an MF. That's what he was doing. He shot the shark and didn't give a damn about the white boy on the shark. I don't give a Did we get him? Oh, my bad. My bad. It's just like that.
Hey man,
No.
that's why he got the right to survive. What was it? Was it Anaconda the one he survived? Like he earned them
No.
stripes.
Deep Blue Sea, he survived there. I think it was Ice Cube that survived in Anaconda. Because Anaconda, damn, I forget the Hispanic
I'm
chick's
gonna look that up real quick because
LL Cool J did survive in
yeah,
Deep.
no, that's Ice Cube. Yeah, Anaconda's Ice Cube.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Anaconda's Ice Cube. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like, hey man, hell, even that crappy movie Prom Night, it was the black cop that survived. Pretty sure he survived that one too. So like,
Man, look.
uh,
Ain't nobody fighting with y'all.
yeah, no,
Fighting with y'all.
One quick thing though, when talking about games, Resident Evil Village. That was the one that honestly did not scare me at all. Like I was just like, okay,
Was
yeah,
that,
there, huh?
were they in Africa? Was that the Africa one?
No, that was the one with Lady Dimitrescu. I
oh,
can
the
never
new
pronounce her
one,
name.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
7 or 6.
No, I think it was 7, or technically it's a sequel to 7.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that one just could not scare me. Like, yeah, there were some jump scare moments and some moments where you're feeling like, all right, the pressure's on. But most of the villains, I'm like, all right, that was cool. That was neat tricks. And then we get to her, and I'm like,
Maybe it's because of all the memes or the fact that people don't take nothing seriously. But that
No,
I don't know about that
I
one, man.
agree. Devin's a freaky frog. That's what Devin's a freaky frog. And I respect it. I respect it because my boy, that bitch Bill. That's what she is.
her and her daughters, I was just like, look,
I
you're
don't
trying to scare me, but it's not working. You're doing the opposite
it's
here.
Rob.
Too,
Okay, Rob.
too many of
Yeah,
them goth
Rob.
millennial women that we grew up with, man.
Yeah.
Rob.
Look, and we've had a conversation about this and everything. Like,
Oh,
oh hey, all the different media that we've watched and everything, where it's like, oh hey, the goth girls and everything, and so on and so forth. I'm like, no, like, I'm already programmed where this is fun. This is okay.
I'm aroused.
Exactly.
What to tell you?
okay, Fry. It's caroused.
It don't work, Jason. It don't work. Oh, you
Nah,
gonna stab me with oh, my dick hard. What's up? Like, I don't. Nah, bro, that shit don't hit.
I mean,
No.
to be fair, that is a good defense. Like, what murderer is going to go out there and be like, oh, well, hey, you're hard. Like, I don't know if I want to get close to you right now.
Exactly.
That,
Kevin
that
Hart
hesitation, exactly, that hesitation, boom.
Oh man,
I'm turning my body. Where's she gonna stab me?
I can't. I can't.
Nah.
I mean, it's a proper defense, boom.
Oh, that's terrible. But you know what? This is probably the weirdest segment I'm gonna have over these 5 episodes here. But I'm gonna switch it again. To I'm gonna switch it to. We're gonna go to anime this time. You watch any horror anime, Caleb?
You said that I watched any what? I'm sorry.
Do you watch any horror anime whatsoever?
No. Anime is
Bro.
most of my comfort zone. No,
Fair,
like, no.
fair enough, but what I will say is, honestly, international horror, not even just anime or movies, but like the way different cultures think and apply that to horror, man, it just makes you realize how limited we can be sometimes as Americans, bro. Because I remember watching an anime called Another, bro. That shit creeped me the hell out. Mind you, I was like 19. I was grown. I was just like, damn, like that is insane. That, and then you have some other creepy horror ones like Elfen Lied. If you've ever heard anyone talk about Elfen Lied, Elfen Lied, however people like to pronounce it,
Yeah.
that one, it makes you think about freaking evolution, especially if you read the manga. Like, nah, I don't want to think about getting magical powers will be evolve and mind fuck people with magical hands. Like that's no. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Like nah. Just like it's a great watch, but like at the same time, if you read the manga, it's like, no, I don't why are we talking about this? This is like the worst evolutionary trip ever. And in another, just like, hey, let's take anything you find creepy and jack that up and just make you think about it for a week. Like,
I think the closest anime horror that I got was Berserk. That's the closest that I got.
yeah,
It's not
that's not even really horror. That's
yeah, it's not a horror whatsoever, but like my brain going into it was like shonen protag type shit. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is the guy. Da, da, da. And then it gets to a certain point and I'm like, because I have a very like active imagination and shit like that. So seeing that go like that, like even from a spiritual standpoint, it's like, mm. And I respect. I'm not saying that this is bad whatsoever. I'm just saying I have an overactive imagination, and that was like, that's a lot for me
no, I
because
feel you. And honestly, they do way too damn well with some of this stuff. So it's like I completely understand because like, if you've ever watched Yamishi Bai, or if someone ever says let's watch Yamishi Bai, do it in a brightly follow the anime warning. Watch anime in a brightly lit room away from the TV.
We were watching
So
it on
don't
like
mess
a
with your
Saturday
eyes.
morning. Yep.
I respect the handle from the Japanese individuals. That's what I can say. I will respect their handle. You see what I'm saying? So like that, like everything post Berserk when it came to like horror, it's like, oh no, y'all really on horror. I respect that. American shit is like, yeah. Like I still have shit to catch up on for Japanese horror, Korean horror, like period point blank.
Oh
Primarily
man,
those two.
don't
Like,
don't mess with some of those, man. They be coming up with the most out there stuff.
but that's actual horror to me.
Yeah, no, they what was it? Train to Busan? Nah,
Oh
man,
no, no,
that
no. I've seen Train to Busan. That was yeah. Yeah.
oh, the one where it's another zombie movie, but they're like the dude is stuck in his apartment the whole time. Oh, what was the name of that movie?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. I'm gonna have to look it
Yeah,
up real quick.
I have to
But
look
I know
that.
which one you're talking about.
Train to
I want
Busan.
to say it's Sweet Home something.
Oh man, there was a. Oh, why can't I remember the name of this movie? It was such a good movie. It's like basically the whole premise is that like the zombie apocalypse breaks out, so he locked his whole family's gone out of the house. He's like a gamer. He was like live streaming or something, and like the zombie apocalypse happens while he's live streaming, and then like the rest of his family's not in the house, so they all wind up getting killed for the most part. And then him and his girl are like communicating across apartment buildings in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. It's like, oh, this is the most like if shit popped off right here when it happened, what would you do? Like, it's oh my god, what was the name of that movie? Oh, it's going to kill me this whole episode because that movie is so damn good. Oh man, you know,
While
nah,
Devin does this, if you
Devin's
have
gonna
to
do the
get five
research.
things, if you have to get 5 things to survive that situation, what would you get?
This one is a bit of a. It's not a long term solution, but the main character of that movie does something smart. He uses a drone to like scope out the surrounding area while he has the energy to use the drone, and then also used the drone to connect like I think it was like a rope or a line to the other girl's apartment, so they could like send stuff back and forth to each other. Like it depends on your setting, but like that is actually pretty dang smart.
A drone. I'm not mad about the drone. Like your explanation was unneeded. I'm not gonna lie to you. A drone, a surveillance drone. I'm not mad at that. I'm not
Yeah,
mad at that.
Alive. That's what that movie was called. Alive. Hashtag Alive. It was a movie came out in 2020. Like, honestly, you trust me, you would like that movie. Of course, don't watch it in a dark room, but it's called Hashtag Alive. Like, that movie was outrageous. It was like a series of movies in like the early 2020s that just came out and just were like horror bangers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he has to live in his apartment. His eventually the internet goes out, so he can't like because at first he's able to like cope a little bit because he can still live stream and be like, and people like sending each other messages. And then when the internet goes out, he is completely by himself, and like someone knocks on his apartment, like he has to like get ready to fight. Like that movie was so like they did the whole isolation part of the horror so well in that movie. But yeah, if I had to like other things I would consider, um, it really depends on where you are when you get screwed. Like if I'm at home, one of the very first things I would have to scoop up is like
Without disclosing your location. You're at home. Everything shuts down right now. Martial law, zombies popping off, going crazy, just like that.
I mean, because of where I live, the first thing I have to do is actually secure my like I would try to secure my electric line. It's a bit of a dangerous move, but because of where I live specifically, if the grid were to shut down, that would buy me at least another like week to a month to like have to lock things down a little bit. But unfortunately, living in a suburb, it's not like if you live in like a city when horror something happens, you can picture any movie. You can Will Smith it in freaking damn it, what's the movie called? The one with him and the dog.
I'm Legend.
Yes,
I'm Legend.
Yeah, you can Will Smith it in a city. You'll survive for a while because in a city, a lot of stuff is easily packed by. It's dangerous to peep out, but a lot of stuff happens. A suburb is literally like the worst place to be in in a freaking horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's too far. Everything's too carbon light. A road gets blocked, you're screwed. So like, ugh. To find a way to secure gas and to like have like basic essentials, then honestly, the first thing I would probably do because I live in a suburb is get in a car and move to somewhere where I can post up and defend. Because in a south in the suburbs, you're boned 5 ways to Sunday. Even a rural location, because you're rural, you can lock that bitch down and guard yourself. But suburb is like the worst place ever. Especially think about every slasher movie ever, with the exception of the Alien movie where they're in like New York City or Chicago for some reason. Like no, the Predator movie. I think it's Predator 2 where he's like in the city. Outside of that, suburbs is like where every major slasher happens. I'm not staying here. I'm finding the nearest city, locking somewhere down, and trying to ride it out. Because there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a more contained environment for you to pick off the individuals that you need to pick off. You go to a major city.
It's the risk reward of it all. The risk is higher in like a city or an urban environment. The problem is if you have less overall survival skills, a suburb or a rural area is not going to help you. At least in a place like a city, like I'll go back to A Quiet Place. They lived in basically no man's land, but every time they needed major supplies, especially in the beginning of the movie, you see them go to the more city-like area because the supplies are going to be there. The risk is going to be higher, but you'll have more chance for supplies. Like, not your basic supplies like food and shelter, but like, if someone's got diabetes, what you going to do? So that's kind of the trade-off. For me, I would rather, knowing the risk, I would find like a defendable spot in the city, like especially if you like New York City. If you can like lock off one of those like bodega CVS's and just have you and the crew just blocked it off, y'all could survive a long time in a CVS. Like it's,
Mm.
Okay.
but yeah, it's a very good question though. It's hard, and that's why every time someone asks me this question, I'm like, where am I? Because someone says, yeah, you're in the middle of bumfuck Tennessee or something. Like I'm gonna carve a stick and try to survive eating off like worms or something, while I got a slasher dude coming out. Like you're dead. You're gonna get cooked. Like
Mm.
So, Devin, what I will ask you, I'm not going to reveal where you live.
Mm.
Will say is, you're not even at your house when this shit breaks off. You're in a metropolitan area,
Mm.
if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Um, you're close to a mall, if you also understand what I'm saying, without
Mm.
revealing your location.
Mm. Mm.
Where would you go? How would you stake your claim?
So, funny enough, with talking about the mall situation, there's a zombie movie that actually took place where most of the movie was in a mall. I do like the fact that there were a few people who grouped together and locked down the mall. They went floor by floor, made sure that everything was secure, and I think for a good like month or so, they were pretty much set. They had all the supplies that they needed. They, except for a couple of really stupid characters, made sure that they did proper checks. They made sure that they had entertainment so that way they didn't need to go and leave. Like, they were pretty much all good. So as long as you can go and get a group of people who are like, look, it is in our best interest to work together to make sure that we survive, and you get yourself locked down in a mall, I think you're good. I think you're set. You just need to make sure that you're not like, oh, hey, someone's knocking on. You have to be ruthless with that, though. Like, if someone's coming like, oh, hey, we're survivors, we need some. No. I need you to step away from the door before I pull the trigger. That's it. Like, you have to kind of drop that little bit of humanity in you there in order to survive. Because if not, either you are playing that dangerous game where you're letting them in and you're bringing in a lot of risk, or you're going to let them keep complaining, which is going to cause more noise and cause whatever to come over there, or they're going to start doing damage to the safeguards that you have there. Like, they're going to start trying to break down the door, in which case now you've got another problem. Like, no, you got 5 seconds. Leave now. I don't care. I'm not playing. That said, if I had the option, I would go to water. Like, if I had a choice of where I'm going, like, grab a boat. I already know how to fish. I know how to do a lot with boats in general. Um, so, look, I'm gonna keep that distance. If I need to get supplies, I'm gonna have a plan where I go on land, get what I need really quick. I'm right back out. You have to have a plan to get. You have to have an escape route. You know. But if you do that, then what? We're dealing with zombies. They're not going to swim. You're set there. If you have some madness virus or something like that, like 28 days later and stuff like that, yeah, they're not swimming either. If you have some crazy alien monster things, most of them aren't swimming out there.
No.
And if they can't swim, it's like, all right, well, let me start this boat up and move a little bit farther out. We can play this game all day. Mm-hmm.
nah,
What
that
about you,
remind.
though? Oh,
Okay.
good.
Me? Me?
Mm-hmm.
Gasoline at 7.62s. We're on the water. We're parking out. a little bit off the coast, because typically, water consumes the better part of the earth. If the fish are corrupted, everything's corrupted. So we're gonna
Mm.
be fishing for a little bit. And then anytime I see a nigga get too close to the coast to look at where we are, pick. If you know what pick means, you know exactly where I'm standing with them
Mm-hmm.
72s. Pick. We gonna go. Oh no, Florida's a little bit. Oh, we're gonna go off the coast, the east side of Florida's coast. I see somebody. Think. Keep moving. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. That's. I don't really need much.
See, we're on the
Survival.
same page.
Yeah, survival of the fittest. I don't need much, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need much. I don't even need much in this actual life that I'm living. But that being said, duck your head and shut your fucking mouth. Because at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, I'm fishing and I'm shooting. Pick one. Are you a fish or a victim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
facts. And you know what's crazy when you're talking about like if it's an outbreak, it reminded me of this other horror movie with the Asian dude from The Walking Dead, Stephen Yeun. I don't know if y'all ever saw it, Mayhem, bro.
Mm.
That is basically what happens. It's like, bro, the madness virus pops off in his apartment building. They auto lock that, they lock that down, and everything goes to hell. Like, bro, like I think the movie's underrated as hell, but I could not.
oh shit.
All you got to do is you have to lock it down, and And the thing is, every time someone says go to water, it's an amazing idea because especially if you're on like an island, more likely than not you're going to be good as long as people don't be letting everyone come in there. But I always think of that one scene, Devin, you know what I'm talking about, in High School of the Dead, where like the military just shut down that one island,
Mm-hmm.
and every time a zombie came by, sniped, sniper rifle. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Sniper, no sniping. Sniper, no sniping. Sniper, no sniping.
all the sniping, bro. Y'all ain't coming here. But yeah, nah, man. This was honestly a great discussion on horror movies and stuff. Like again, for a hot minute in my teenage years, I was watching horror movies like every other weekend. But so you know what? To kind of start wrapping things up here, I'm gonna go ahead and let Caleb switch gears a little bit and go on our final rant. For something else that kind of scares us a little bit. Rappers be acting stupid.
Hey, hey, my name is Cal. Like, they know me as Cal. Look, my name is Cal. Respectfully. What I will tell you is a lot happened with the Not Like Us, right? Rhetorical question. Shut the fuck up. With that being said, Kendrick fucked up a lot of stuff. So much so, when the Dodgers just won the other night, they played Not Like Us. You see what I'm saying? That's weird. But the
LA.
coincidental. Yeah, it's coincidental. But with that being said, you have a situation as to where Kendrick even said the whole thing where he said, Baca has a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Right? That was a nice line. Obviously. Baca is a weird nigga. He does have a weird case. He shouldn't be around. He's a pedophile type nigga. Weird sexual assault type nigga. Blah, blah, blah. With that being said, Metro Boomin does have a sexual assault rape case.
Mm.
He does. He does.
In the
I am
theme
not a
of
respecter of person.
in the theme of Halloween, I think Cat Williams when he went on Uncle Shay Shay's podcast, Shannon Sharp's podcast, and he said this is the year of truth. I think this is too much truth. Like this is
I don't care because at the end of the day, I don't fuck with Metro. I don't know Metro like that. Metro's a nice producer. But the irony of this, respectfully, Metro is fully prepared, his words, not mine, to do a countersuit because he said, I didn't do that shit. Fuck you. Let's stack the Uno deck. This is interesting. If you think that I'm playing, you can go right to the Los Angeles News as well. You can go to Billboard, you can go to Variety, you can go to Los Angeles Times as well. I feel like this is weird, number one, because any nigga that is afraid of that shit is not going to double up and countersuit. That nigga's gonna pay the settlement, period, point blank, get it out the open public, period.
And hope no one heard about it. Yeah.
Mm.
This just seems interesting to me. Within 24 hours of this announcement, Drake dropped his situation, his music video. When I say situation, it's his music video, No Face. He dropped a music video. It heavily looks like Billie Eilish. And it's still not doing anything for some reason. I think we forgot that Drake was one of the highest selling artists of this generation, actively. Not only did he drop a song, he dropped a music video, and it's not charting whatsoever, even with these allegations on Metro Boomin. I'm not saying Metro Boomin is the best nigga out whatsoever. I don't know this nigga. I'm in Atlanta. He got his chops in Atlanta. He's really from St. Louis. But in all actuality, where is Drake though? Where is the upward mobility that's supposed to be him? Why is he not doing anything, even with a music video? Jay-Z, did you see No Face?
Nope.
Did you see No Face?
Mm.
I don't got time for this BS no more, bro.
I'm just no, but it's a high level artist. You would see it, right?
Right. Well, I see where you're going with that. Like, we would at least know of its existence, under normal circumstances.
Yeah. Well, see what happened is the mysterious arm of the industry is just like just yeeting him away. Just like you get no play, turn off the play, because like I said, when you do something stupid, this freaking peer just disappear for like a year or two. Don't say nothing dumb. Let people forget about you, and then just quietly drop something small. This man just stayed in the waves too long, and now what he does is nothing. Just
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Fuck Drake. My main thing is buy physical copies of everything. Everything that you love, buy physical copies. They just recently took Isaiah Rashad's album, Sun's Tirade, off of Spotify and Apple Music. I'm a collector of vinyls. I like CDs as well. When you stream things, you don't own things. And they can do whatever they want with it.
it's happening to the gaming industry too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
There's a big thing with Steam right now with their change of terms.
Oh yeah, they changed the terms to basically say you don't own whatever you bought. Yeah,
Yep.
they literally threw that, which is why what was it, Pog or I forget the other. There's another Steam like service where basically they're just like you own it. Here's the install files. As long as you have the install stuff, you can keep it forever. We don't care. But yeah, it's to add to the Halloween thing of what scares you. This trend of all these gaming execs and all these other things that scares me. It's like, bro, I don't care if the quote unquote terms of the physical copy of the good old days was that you had a license to play. Like, it's semantics. I had the CD. I could go into my PlayStation, close the dang lid, hit start, wait for the cool startup screen to keep going, and then play my game. Like,
If
yeah,
you
this is
know,
why.
they said it. They said it beautifully on Twitter, Jason. For you to say, bro, if when I buy something, I don't own it. When I cop something, I'm not pirating it.
Yeah, people are going to the Yoho seas of certain pirating websites because they're like, if y'all gonna say we don't own stuff, then we own pirate every day of the week, which is what's honestly, this is why people are getting tired of streaming services because before people were just like, oh, this is an easy way of me being able to, access the stuff I used to like pretty easily. Now that they keep trying to restrict everything and make ad versions and play with people's money, the people are like, all right, I'm gonna go back to making sure when I got it, I got it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
That's for the video games. Last bar, Jason. This is for video games. What I will say for music, please buy the music. Respectfully, I'm begging you, please buy the music. These are individuals who, at the end of the day, they don't even know that they're respected. And that changes the whole landscape of what you hear. Period, point blank. Like, there's a different, I'm not saying video games are not supposed to be respected whatsoever. But music, at the end of the day, there's a difference there. It's the same thing. I know you don't think it's the same thing, but the same thing where you have to like differentiate between Shakespeare and Ice JJ Fish. Buy
Yo.
buy the Mozart shit. I understand. That's a very crazy dichotomy that I'm giving you. Buy the Mozart shit. I'm telling you. Because at the end of the day, Ice JJ Fish can do whatever he wants on TikTok. You don't want me to start putting names on niggas. These two brothers are nice. I'm not. Fuck you. Buy the shit. That's all, Jason. That's all I have to say.
and you know what? That actually leads me into one of the two quotes tonight that we have for y'all as we wrap up. The first one comes from a very good classic horror movie, 1982, The Thing. Trust is a tough thing to come by these days. They said that over 42 years ago. Yeah, we in 2024. That was over 40 years ago. So they said that then. I'm saying it still now. Trust is a hard thing to come by these days. However, we got a second quote for you. This is going to be courtesy of Devin as we wrap up.
All right. In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes.
And if you didn't know, that's from Bloodworth, the black dude from Final Destination. On that note, I've been your boy. This is John. I got,
Dev.
and at the end there,
Cal?
peace.